Hi, this is Jagadishwaran. I'm going to show you how we can integrate Angular 10 project with Spring Boot with a full complete demonstration. So I'm going to tell you what is the steps I'm going to follow. I'm going to use Visual Studio Code to create Angular 10 project, which contains a couple of artifacts like a component and a service. For example, I'm going to take HR and employees details I'm going to do. So it can be an employee component and an employee service. So there will be a class called employee and which is mapped to the REST employee. So I'm going to use Spring Tool Suite to create a Spring Boot project where I have a class called employee in Java and a controller. Can it be a REST controller called employee controller, which is going to return list of employees. So employees. So this is what I am going to do now. So let me open my Visual Studio Code where I am going to open the terminal to create a project and ng new. So I'll name it as HRMS um, Jag project 1. It will take a couple of minutes or even 1 minute. And now I'm going to open Spring Tool Suite. So it is asking me to use router yes or no. Say yes, and CSS is what I have chosen in these options. Now in Spring Tool Suite, I'm going to create a Spring Boot using the Spring Starter project. I can use starter project from start spring.io. I'm going to generate HRMS Jag project 1. I'm going to use only Spring Web because I'm going to create just a controller in this project. The user interfaces are created using Angular project. So I just create a class called employee and few properties I'm going to create, say employee ID and first name and last name, and I create a constructor without argument and constructor with all arguments. I'm going to create getters and setters. So that's all for this employee class. Now I'm going to create a controller which is also a class called employee controller. How do I make it as a REST controller? So an annotation called REST controller will help you convert this class into a REST controller. And this is going to have a method which returns a list of employees. So I name it as get employee, which would be nice. Get employees would be fine. So I'm going to create a list of employees, which is equal to an array list of implementation. Now, couple of employee data I need to add to this list. So an employee have first name as Ram Kumar, I just copy this couple of times, 2 times, and add some data. Ideally this would come from a database and you can use JDBC or JPA to implement it. Suresh Kumar, Suresh Peters, Ravi Kumar, Dinesh Srinivasan, Dinesh Bharadwaj. Now this collection I am going to return employees. So the return type is void at this stage. I'm going to change it as list of employees. Now this is ready now. Just right click the project and run it as a Spring Boot app. So this is going on here. And I'm going to check this service using localhost 8080 slash what is the URL we have given. We have not given a URL, so I'm going to give request mapping with employees as a URL. Restart this web service. Remember not to start it again and the port number is already occupied. Use restart or stop and start. So now I'm going to give the URL employees. Done. This is working absolutely fine. Now I'm going to my Visual Studio Code where the project is ready. I'm going inside the project, change directory to HRMS JAG project 1 would be the folder. So I want to open this folder. So open the folder which is in C colon. You can, if you feel typing difficult, you can just click here to open it. You just control click and open it. Simple. And now I open the terminal. I'm going to create the artifacts of the project. Number one is the component, service and class in any order. So I just create the class ng generate class. The name of the class is employee. You may wonder why E is in the small letter. This is just for the file names convention. If you just go inside your SRC app and see the employee.ts, E is in the capital letter automatically. Now I'm going to generate the component, generate component, employee component, and it will create a template which is HTML and the code which is TypeScript and the style which is CSS. And I'm going to generate a service which is going to access my HTTP client. So ng generate service employee. So you can understand inside the app, employee is there and employee service is there. So employee service is going to access the HTTP client. Before that, I just create a method called get employees. So this method is going to access HTTP client. So in order to use HTTP client, we must import this HTTP client module in app module.ts. So I'm going to app module.ts and import something from Angular common HTTP. This way, I am allowed to import the module called HTTP client module, and then in your service just import HTTP client or something from HTTP client, which is Angular common / HTTP. Now I have not typed anything here. You just see I'm going to do a dependency injection here by declaring a variable of type HTTP client. It is wrongly imported. It should be HTTP client only. So I just remove this unnecessary thing. Using this HTTP, you are allowed to access the REST API. So this .http.get post, all these methods you know. I'm going to give the URL here. The URL, I'm going to copy this from here, and that is the URL. So by accessing this URL, you will get an observable of type object. So this method is returning an observable object. Now in my component, employee component, so I just go inside employee component TS. What I want to do is I want to access all the employees and display in the beginning itself. So I'm writing it the init. So in order to access my service, I need to do a dependency injection, private service of type employee service. See, it is not coming here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import it here. Import something from my own program, employee.service, and hence I am allowed to access it here, employee service. So what I am going to do is this dot service dot get employees. Now this get employees return an observable object, so you have to do subscribe. Subscribe is a callback method which will give your data, which I am going to do whatever here. So I want to store the employees here. So first there is a class called employee. So I'm going to define this employee with the employee ID of type number, first name of type string, last name of type string, and hence now you can see that I'm going to declare employees of type anything. So that this dot employee is equal to data. So the data obtained from my REST is going to be sitting in this object, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to display it in the HTML template employees. So before that, I just want to see what happens when I say ng-serve. Once this project is compiled, you can open a browser and see the localhost 4200. So this is not ready now, and the process of compilation is going on. Once this compilation is over, you will see a default home page which is created by Angular project, and your index.html contains app root. So app root is nothing but app HTML, which is going to be displayed here. This default code I don't like, so I just remove this, and I'm going to use my employee component HTML here. So employee component TS says that this is the custom tag of employee. So in my app component, I'm going to use this tag. So because of that, you see employee works. So employee works is the only code which is found in my employee HTML. So here I'm going to display the result which is stored in employee TS. So this is my employee component TS where employees are obtained. So there is something called cross origins. Here I am going to use cross origin of parameter origins equal to http localhost 4200, and then restart this service. Only then the permission is given for the request from this kind of origins. Now, so what I'm going to do, this employees is a collection, there is an array. I'm going to display it in employee component HTML. So I need a container like list where I can display the array. So I'm going to use ng for, it's like a for each loop, let singular employee of plural employees. So this employees is an object which is declared here, which I am going to display it here. So I do interpolation of the local variable employee dot employee ID, and now you can open the browser and see the employee IDs are coming here from Spring Boot project. Now I am going to use another interpolation, employee dot first name, and you can see the first name here, and another interpolation of employee dot last name. Now you got it. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for joining. Bye.